We have an unsecured back door. Myself and my brother here are going to go ahead and secure the residence.
Sheriff's office!
Normal, decent human beings don't want to lie. They want to get it off their chest.
Like with that, hold those doors up.
Sheriff's office!
I don't want to be in trouble for something I didn't do.
Oh.
Sheriff's office!
You knew Chucky got shot.
I did. I heard it.
I know you heard it.
Sheriff's office!
Deputy Cannon and I were responding to a welfare check. Charles Hogue lived alone. There was no indication if anybody had actually seen him.
Sheriff's office!
I started to knock on the door,
Sheriff's office!
and that's when I noticed an elderly man laying face down in the backyard.
Stand by when you hear 543, we have an unsecured back door. Myself and my brother here are going to go ahead and secure the residence, see if there's anybody, any other possible victim.
Sheriff's office! Sheriff's office!
Clear. There does not appear to be anybody else inside the residence. It's already started to rain. I'm already attempting to come to body. I'm looking for additional material now.
As I came up to the body, he had a single gunshot wound to the back of the head. And both of his arms were folded underneath him, but coming out to one side, which meant his body didn't have a chance to catch himself when he fell, like he'd been struck from behind.
We rolled him. We wanted to rule out the possibility of suicide. We weren't able to locate any firearm, but we did locate a shell casing. And we knew at that time we had a homicide. We didn't see any signs of forced entry. The home wasn't ransacked, but Mr. Hogue's wallet, his keys, and cell phone were missing. In the kitchen was a partially eaten hamburger, French fries. That certainly suggested that maybe somebody had arrived unexpectedly at the home. Once we got into his bedroom, we noticed some 9mm pistol ammunition in a drawer, and it did match the shell casing that we found in the backyard. In the guest bathroom, I located a Bulldog brand pistol holster, but we never located any kind of pistol.
So that brought up a red flag. Where was this pistol? We had no known suspect, no murder weapon, not a clue which direction to go.
We've got ourselves a whodunit case.
Trying to block it from public view. We get a search warrant and collect any kind of evidence that could help lead us to the suspects.
The only thing of note that did come from that search was the driver's seat was all the way in the forward position.
We knew that Charles Hogue was tall. The last person driving that vehicle was much shorter than Mr. Hogue was. The truck was now our number one piece of evidence because it was the only thing that linked the suspects to Mr. Hogue's home. We located a small local church who just so happened to have security cameras. And we noticed in that midday time frame, Mr. Hogue's truck traveling at a high rate of speed.
It's possible it was the killer that was driving, but we were unable to see the driver. It was very frustrating. We wanted to get justice for Mr. Hogue.
When I found out that Chucky had been shot and that he wasn't with us anymore, I went into complete shutdown mode. I was devastated. Detective Biviano asked if he had any known enemies. He didn't. He was friends with everybody. Charles Chucky Hogue was a salt of the earth type of fellow. He was raised in Santa Ana, Texas, and he went off and joined the Navy. He's a Vietnam vet. He retired after many, many years of truck driving, and he married the love of his life, which ended up being my mom. He loved her inside and out. After Mom passed, he was very lonely. He loved being around my family. He loved just being included in everything.
We just started cold calling numbers to try to find anybody who had contact with him in the days leading up to his murder. And then I called a number. A female answered the phone. She identified herself as Tara Wilhite. She began telling us that in the weeks prior, she was kicked out of her home and was a bit destitute. And she was walking along a rural highway, and Mr. Hogue came upon her in his vehicle and had asked her if she had needed a ride anywhere. Mr. Hogue told her that he'd be willing to let her stay at his home. I had to inform her Mr. Hogue was found murdered at his home. She became audibly upset. We asked her if we could meet with her in person. We felt that she may be able to offer information about things that we saw in the home, particularly the firearm that we were searching for.
I know things have been a little bit crazy, but appreciate you coming in. So, starting from the day, that you first met Mr. Hogue.
You said it was Sunday, March the 15th?
Yes,
Does that sound right?
I was headed, I guess, towards town, and he stopped and asked if I needed a ride. He had given me his name and asked if I had somewhere to go, and I told him no. And he offered to let me stay at his house.
How long did you stay total?
Through the 21st.
I guess you didn't have a place to stay at the time just due to other family-related things.
Correct.
Okay.
Tara had roughly stayed with Mr. Hogue in the time frame of the days leading up to his death. She had been kicked out of her home, and some of that conflict arose from a relationship breakdown with her fiance, Chris Brown.
And prior to this, you never knew?
Prior to this, I had not known who he was.
And of course, he was an older man. His wife passed away. I think he was just kind of lonely. He enjoyed having your company.
Yeah, I think so. But, Chucky seemed like the type that he needed somebody to talk to.
Seemed like he was lonely old man. That's the way she put it. Just wanted some attention.
We thought maybe a person might be able to take advantage of Mr. Hogue and exploit his loneliness after his wife died.
Did you see at any time in his vehicle on his person a pistol?
The only time I saw the pistol was in the house.
When was the first time you saw the pistol?
It was in the holster on a dresser right beside the TV.
In his bedroom?
In his bedroom. I just asked him, could he put it up? Because I have a lot of buddies commit suicide. So pistols are not something I'm
just not real comfortable with.
Not comfortable, yeah. I didn't see where he put it, and he didn't tell me.
And that confirmed that he had a handgun in the house that had been stolen from his residence. So we were confident that was used to kill Mr. Hogue.
When we talked on the phone the other day, you mentioned that your fiance, Chris Brown, former, that he came out.
We picked him up on the night.
And what was the circumstances of y'all picking him up?
We were trying to work things out. It wasn't something I wanted to do. Because Christopher is very jealous and controlling. I had asked Chucky if we could go get Chris, and Chucky said that was fine, and we ended up him just spending the night.
How's Chris's demeanor and temper?
His temper is very bad.
Did he get upset with you at all for staying with Chucky?
Chris got upset with me over everything. Yeah.
Did he get violent with you or anybody else? And you don't have to go into detail.
With me, yeah.
This is a tough question. Do you think Chris could have had anything to do with what happened to Chucky?
Chucky was the last person I had. He was my last parent. So I felt like I lost a lot when I lost him. He loved with everything he had. Anytime you hugged him, it was a lingering hug, and he wanted you to know that he loved you and that he was always there for you.
Chucky was found on that Saturday of the 20th. Do you remember anything odd or strange about Chris's behavior on that weekend or anything?
Honestly, I don't know.
I really need to know. Did Chris say anything specific about Chucky, directing any anger towards you staying with Chucky?
He was angry because I was staying with somebody I didn't know.
Have you ever seen Chris with a gun?
No. I haven't seen him.
How tall is Chris?
A little bit taller than me. I want to say like 5'6".
About 5'6". Right. Anybody that you can think of, even your gut telling you, I'm suspicious of this person. I'm worried this person may have had something to do with this.
His girlfriend called that morning.
And I know that was something we talked about the other day, that Chucky had met this female online,
Yes.
right? She supposedly lives in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania was coming the week of the 25th, and I mean, it just all seemed fishy to me.
Okay. And she was a Vietnamese.
Her accent was very thick.
Okay.
I remember him stating that he had sent her $300 to make sure she had the gas to make it to him.
Did he normally talk to her through Facebook or on the cell phone?
He did have her cell phone number, but as far as I knew, Chucky did most of his socializing with her through Facebook.
Through Facebook.
Back to that Monday, do you remember Chucky making any phone calls, receiving any phone calls?
Someone called on the 18th. If I remember correctly, the guy came out on the 19th and he bought some weed from Chucky.
Okay.
How did you know that Chucky had sold him some pot?
Because Chucky had mentioned it to me when he was cooking dinner that evening. And that's when he had mentioned that he sold pot and sold cocaine and meth, and if I knew anybody that needed anything, to send them to him.
She was making Mr. Hogue out to be some sort of a drug dealer in Romance, Arkansas, and it did not fit with what we knew about Mr. Hogue.
And it definitely started to shift our viewpoint on the information that she was giving us. We didn't know if some of the things she was saying was fully true.
There were quite a few people snooping on his property.
If you were having guns, we don't care.
He mentioned that he was sorry his girlfriend was coming.
Anything else?
Not that I can think of right offhand. So gut feeling is girlfriend, but I wouldn't put anything past Chris. And that's to be completely and solely honest with you guys.
In Mr. Hogue's autopsy, we weren't able to find any evidence to suggest that Mr. Hogue was trafficking any narcotics. His drug screen was completely clear. It started to put some things that Tara had stated in a new light.
We had subpoenaed Mr. Hogue's phone records and social media records as well. We found no records to indicate he was speaking with anyone on Facebook Messenger in Pennsylvania. At that point, it's very fathomable that everything she's told us today is not true.
Detective Ellis and I were starting to build our suspicions. Or why would you lie to us when all we're trying to do is get your help to solve a murder?
We had it there.
Kind of put me in.
Put you in the corner?
Yeah, but I think I do that to myself.
Would it surprise you to know that in his autopsy and toxicology, he had absolutely zero traces of any narcotics whatsoever?
Well, that would surprise me because I smoked with Chucky Sunday,
So he had zero. Absolutely nothing.
and now that just makes me look like a fool.
We didn't have the autopsy results from the first autopsy, so I couldn't ask you that question.
Well, I can't tell you what is and what ain't, but I know for a fact Chucky smoked with me on Sunday.
Nobody can argue with toxicology.
I can't either.
So that's what I'm saying. She's kind of pulled her hat down over her face a little bit. We're losing that eye contact that we had with her in the first interview. Now, she doesn't even want to look at us.
You could tell she was kind of starting to feel like they're on to me now.
Let's go on to Chucky's girlfriend. There's absolutely no record of him talking to anybody in Pennsylvania on his phone record.
Then why did Chucky tell me that?
He absolutely had no FaceTime conversations, absolutely had no messenger conversations.
Well, he was on the phone and he told me it was his girlfriend and she was Vietnamese.
My point is, as we come into this conversation, I want you to know we've done our homework at this point.
I'm aware of that.
Can I tell you my theory? Can I share that with you? Chucky had some nice things in that house. So I think somebody who saw all these things, stole his gun, and maybe even had a rough plan to rob him, and in the process of doing that, Chucky gets killed.
I don't know what to tell you.
One of my theories is someone Mr. Hogan knew and trusted to be in his house, come up behind him and shot him in his backyard.
The perpetrators in these cases are oftentimes addicts, and the only thing they're thinking about is how to get the next fix. So the nice man down the road that's helped us, they actually see somebody that they can victimize to get what they need.
What can you tell me about maybe Chris taking that gun?
I don't know anything.
I know you said there was a time when you came into his bedroom, he had it on the dresser.
I mean, he had another one that stainless steel or whatever, but that was in the closet.
Terry, I've got a big concern. The first time we talked, you said that pistol, the original pistol, in the holster, was the only pistol you saw.
I didn't know about it.
Here's the deal, you held that information from us for some reason.
No, I swear to God, I did not hold it back for any reason.
My thought is, you knew one of those two pistols killed you.
She mentions a second handgun, which, why did you leave that out the first time we talked? Her stories just keep growing. It became obvious that she had forgotten things she had told us in the first interview. There's a reason these things change is because they're not true.
There's something else. After Chucky was killed, his truck was stolen. Right? When his truck was recovered, the driver's seat was moved all the way up. So whoever drove that truck last was shorter.
Y'all been thinking it's me, and you don't have to say it. But I did not kill Chucky.
But I think you know who did. Or I think you know more than what you're telling me.
No, I don't know who did.
And Chris is shorter, too.
I'm not pointing fingers at nobody because I don't know.
When it came to Chris, she wouldn't say, no, he didn't do it. She just blanked. I think there's also the possibility that if she names Chris, that may require her to explain more of her actions, too.
That pistol holster was not in that bag. It can be pussy without being.
Somebody who was short enough to drive his truck based on the seat where it was.
Well,
if you're saying it's not you, then you need to help.
I don't know anything. Honest to God.
All right. Well, I think we're going to leave it alone for today. We were feeling more and more confident that we were on the right track. But we didn't want to push it too far. We still wanted to leave that door open for a third interview.
And from there, we went to go find Chris Brown.
Any water out there?
Yeah, water.
Water? Water?
This personality came across as more meek, not as strong as Tara's. And I think we felt like that may be more to our advantage in the interview room.
Have you been to Chucky's house before?
No.
You haven't?
Not before when Sarah was there and I stayed the night.
Okay. And did she invite you to come and stay at Mr. Hoag's house?
She talked to Mr. Hoag about it and he said that's fine. I know y'all are working through relationship problems.
Did you ever at any point ever see any handguns or pistols in the house?
No, sir.
Okay. How about any holsters, like pistol holsters or anything like that? Okay.
You can see he's got his arms crossed in front of him. He's trying to create a barrier between him and us, like a signal for him to feel more protected.
He was very nervous, very timid, just seemed scared right off the bat. He was exhibiting every sign of somebody that was guilty.
Well, I mean, you guys coming in here and talking to us is very important. It helps us just kind of figure out who was having contact with Mr. Hoag. I'm just going to lay it out on the table and ask you if you had anything to do with Mr. Hoag's.
No, sir, I did not.
But we know that whoever did this made some mistakes. I don't know if you know this, but Mr. Hoag's truck was stolen as a part of the homicide. And they managed to get themselves caught on camera.
We really did have video of Mr. Hoag's truck. The quality of that video didn't render what we're describing here, but that is the bluff. We had to play this interrogation a little riskier. There was just a general lack of any trace or physical evidence. It just didn't exist.
How tall are you, Chris?
5'7".
You want to take a wild guess as far as how tall the person was that was driving Mr. Hoag's truck? He was between 5'6" and 5'7". I mean, hell, we even had the FBI come out and process that truck. So we can keep going through this, and I can paint a picture. And I'm a pretty good painter, Chris. I might be willing to consider that you guys were in a tough spot. You knew that Mr. Hoag had some nice things. Maybe the plan was just a simple theft, and things got out of hand. And this whole thing was an accident. Okay? We've got fingerprints, we've got video, we've got DNA. All I need is one drop, one cell, one eyelash. That's all I need. So is there anything at this point you'd like to talk to us about before we move forward? Okay. Can you tell me about that?
We were in a bad situation. I ain't gonna lie, I was on meth at one point in time.
Okay.
Sarah told me we need the money. We were supposed to go over there and just grab a few things to go sell. And it got out of hand.
I don't think either of us were that surprised of his statements that Tara put him up to it. Chris didn't seem to have that personality that he wore the pants in their relationship. Tara, she's a better liar than Chris was. He just broke.
How did y'all get to the property?
We walked.
When you walked up to Mr. Hoag's house, what happened then?
We talked to Mr. Hoag, see how he was doing.
Okay. And then what happened?
I walked back in, used the bathroom, and to grab a few things. And
What'd you grab?
Was a 45 pistol. And then I was trying to grab, like, his phone or anything I can.
Maybe something you could sell or trade or something like that. Okay. What happened after you grabbed those things?
And I told her it's time to go. And we stepped out and he was out back. I started typing off and he said, hey, can you come here? They need to call the cops on us.
Because he saw what you had in your hand?
And it was a faint accident at the same time. I was holding a gun and my finger was on the trigger and I didn't mean to shoot.
He was shot in the back of the head. Did he turn to run, or did he just turn his back on you?
Turned his back.
How many times did you shoot?
I accidentally shot one.
How close were you standing to Chucky when this happened?
About from each here.
How did y'all get in the truck?
Grabbed the keys off him.
Okay.
I got in first, she got in right after me, and we took off.
There was total elation, relief. I finally felt like Mr. Hogue was going to get some justice. We had him confessing to actually pulling the trigger, but we still have no physical evidence at this point. The next important part was the murder weapon.
The trucks.
What did y'all do then? I understand. Whenever y'all left Chucky's truck there behind Midway, what happened from there?
We walked home.
Where was the gun?
On set.
And then when y'all got to the house, what happened?
I grabbed the laptop, we wouldn't get rid of it, and I took it down to the food.
Okay. So what all went through?
His phone and his phone.
We'll be right back.
You're not getting locked up today.
Well, we're going to talk about all that.
Yeah. He did take us out to the creek there behind the residence. We get to this body of water, and Chris Brown points to the water. We find Mr. Hogue's wallet and the keys to his vehicle, and a 9mm handgun.
It was a Taurus PT 111 9mm pistol that matched Mr. Hogue's Bulldog brand holster.
We were able to determine that handgun belonged to Mr. Hogue, so we knew we had the murder weapon.
An update tonight out of White County. Christopher Brown of Romance was arrested today on capital murder and tampering with physical evidence charges. Authorities believe he killed Charles Hogue at his home.
At that point, we knew we had to turn our focus onto Tara. She was running out of legroom to explain herself. We wanted her to feel comfortable in an area where she was living now. We were kind of doing it on her terms, which is not always the case you want, but we wanted to keep her feeling comfortable.
So I told you we weren't trying to get caught up on everything, especially since we talked the other day. And this is Detective Warren. Detective Chris did agree to come up to the office and talk to us. I can tell you this much. Hopefully this will make you feel safer. Chris is in custody for Mr. Hogue's homicide. We got to cover some loose ends. And one of those loose ends, Chris named you as an individual that was there with him at the house when it happened. And he's claiming some things against you that I'm worried puts you more than just a witness to this thing, but an active participant.
I understand.
But this is what's very, very important. When you say you were there, what does that mean? You were there at the house.
And next thing I know, he's got the gun in my back and making me get in the truck. I promise I didn't do anything.
We take her back to White County. We knew that interview would be tough with her because we were going to have to start putting the pressure on.
Tara, we appreciate your cooperation so far. Okay. We just want to kind of talk through everything again. You did tell me that you were there.
I was there with Chris. I was walking over to Chucky's to go and get the keys and pick up the dog. And Chris came up and startled me. And he put the gun to my side and he said, keep walking. And we get to Chucky's, and Chucky's outside on the porch, and he looks at Chris and he goes, something's wrong. And Chucky told me, go in the house and lock the doors and call the cops. And so I ran in the house and I couldn't get there fast enough. And Chris came in and said, get in the truck. And he got in and took off down the road. And he told me, I said, Chris, what did you do? And he told me he shot Chucky. And I asked him why, and he didn't have a reason. But I didn't know that he shot Chucky until we left the driveway.
But where were you actually at when he shot Chris?
I was in the kitchen.
You were in the kitchen and you would have heard the gunshot.
No, I didn't. I had my headphones in. I had my music in my ears the whole time.
You're telling me you didn't hear a gunshot in a trailer with paper-thin walls?
What she was saying just didn't make any sense. She said she would put her headphones in and turn the music up. You're not going to do that unless you're trying to drown out a specific noise. We were pretty convinced at that point that she did hear or see Mr. Hogue shot. I knew she was lying, and she was very good at gaslighting.
Why didn't you just tell me this story on Wednesday?
Because I was still scared for my life.
But I've got some major concerns because your story's changed quite a few times.
Do you want the truth, Josh?
Yeah, I want the truth.
My original plan was to get Chucky to give me a ride. What Chris had planned, I don't know. We got there and Chucky told us to come in. Me and Chucky are standing in the kitchen talking, and Chris comes out the bathroom. He said, Chucky, will you show me the track? So Chucky said, okay. I put my headphones back in and turned up my music.
And you weren't supposed to be doing anything while Chucky was in the backyard.
No.
You don't want to come out of this looking cold-blooded and heartless.
No, because I didn't shoot Chucky.
Okay.
But you went over there to rob him.
No, I went over there to get a ride into town and to borrow some money.
Borrow money or take his money?
No, I went to borrow it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think you're giving us full story still.
Tara, I think y'all went over there to try to steal some stuff and it went wrong. Tara, that's why Chris had Chucky take him to the backyard and show him that stuff. Because while he was outside distracting Chucky, you were supposed to take Chucky's wallet and steal the other stuff, okay?
I didn't have any clue that that's what was supposed to take place.
That's why you put your headphones in, because you knew what was going to happen and you didn't want to hear it.
I think you watched him walk out behind Chucky with that gun, and you knew that he was going to shoot him.
I did not. I had my headphones in.
Why you put your headphones in?
No, I had my headphones in the whole time.
That's a lie. You told us earlier you put your headphones in when he walked out back. And now you're changing your story again. We can't believe anything you say.
All I know is he told Chucky come out back, and I stood there in the kitchen with my headphones in.
Detective Warren and Detective Viviano weren't quite getting Tara to the point where they needed her. So it was time for something different. And I was what they would call the bad cop. Tara needed to realize that she was looking at some serious charges if she didn't finally tell the truth. And that's where I stepped in.
Okay, so let me introduce myself. Heather Meadows. I am his boss. I am the one that decides if you walk out of here in handcuffs and get charged with capital murder. Me. Normal, decent human beings don't want to lie. They want to get it off their chest. They want to be able to have a clear conscience.
I do, but I don't want to be in trouble for something I didn't do.
But you know what you did do that you don't want to admit because you know it makes you feel like is that you knew Chucky got shot.
I did.
I know you heard it. you care about him?
Yes.
Then you must have been so scared. You must have been scared. Because that dude's scary, yes? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's all.
I heard it and I put my headphones in afterwards and I couldn't think of anything else. I heard the freaking gun every time I turned around. Every time I went to go to sleep, I heard it.
You know what that is? That's your brain's way of dealing with trauma. Because you knew what happened was wrong and it made you feel like crap that you were there and you couldn't get away.
I didn't even know it was gonna happen.
I believe you. I believe that you went over there for a reason, most likely just for money, maybe borrow money. But when it happened,
I was in the kitchen and by the table, and I hear a ring, and I hear a pop in a ring. And I knew what had happened after that, and I put my headphones in and I ran to the truck.
take a minute.
She starts bawling. I mean, it finally...
But listen to me. There's two people involved here. One of them went there knowing what they were going to do, and the other one didn't, and is either a witness or just as guilty as the person that went there because they're lying and they knew. So if you didn't know, now's the time to walk us through beginning to the end.
We get to Chucky's house, and Chucky just gotten out of the car. And I remember Chris just looking at Chucky with this evil look. And we go back, we sit in the rocking chairs in Chucky's room, and I follow him into the kitchen, and Chris comes about 2 or 3 minutes behind us. The only thing that was in Chucky's room on that dresser was his pistol. I knew that something was gonna happen. And I told Chris, I said, no, don't do it. And Chris goes, Chucky, will you take me out back and show me the truck? And next thing I hear is, pow. And I put my headphones in and turned up my music and went to the truck. And Chris goes, if you tell anybody, I will kill you just like I did Chucky.
It was important that Tara admit that she saw him get shot or heard him get shot. That was the final piece of evidence that was going to crack that case and give us what we need for our conviction.
Now, hands up! Both hands, on the ground now. I don't need you talking. On the ground.
County 911 location, emergency. One more time. We're at off Flat Bottom Road. What's your name? Okay. I got him coming. What's your name?
Silent. Many agree to be interrogated anyway, but they can stop the interview.
"911 gets a call, and there's a voice on the phone saying, help, it's garbled, they're trying to figure out exactly what's going on.
I have an officer there, but you have to go to the door. Can you hear me?
Uniform patrol deputies get there, they're trying to make contact, it's late, it's dark, they can't hear anything. They do a safety sweep of the house, try to locate if there's been a crime.
You could see blood all over the ground and a trail of blood that led up to the front of the house. I approached the house and could see bloody handprints down the wall, all over the threshold of the door. Opening the door, there's just a large pool of blood in that blood.
No. No. We did it to you.
We located a female on her bed, covered in blood. And she had a gunshot wound to her face.
They begin life-saving measures with her. When somebody's shot in the face, it's really time sensitive to get them medical attention. Her potential for survival, we were not very confident. We didn't know if she was going to make it through the night or if she was going to be in a coma. We had no idea.
I love my sister. People thought we were twins, 13 months apart. We just had fun together. We'd go into the woods next to Mom's house where we lived and grew up, build teepees and little houses out into the woods. Very, very simple life. People remember her kindness. She loved everyone. She would help everyone. She would give you the shirt off of her back. She was truly a one of a kind.
To do it right. You're looking for everything. Everything that you look at is potential clue, is potential evidence. When we went into Angela's house, the house was in disarray. We weren't sure what we had yet. But anytime that someone receives a gunshot wound to the head and there's nobody on scene, you have to look at a potential suicide attempt.
Inside the house, there was a small chair to the side, and immediately you could see the shininess of a cartridge casing. You could see a gunshot that went through the window directly behind the chair.
The projectiles were there, but there was no weapons found on the property. We weren't sure still exactly what had happened. The only person that can tell us is the victim.
When I arrived at the hospital, it was very important for me to try to communicate with Angie. I could look at her and see that there was an injury to her nose, and it caused a significant hole in her face going into her nasal cavity. The extent of her brain damage was unknown. The extent of any lasting injuries wasn't known, but she could respond to some very basic commands. We saw her moving her hand, so we decided we were going to try to communicate with writing.
Angie, can you hear me? You able to write down? Did you do this to yourself? Who had the gun? Okay. This is very important. What is his name? Sue knew him? Okay.
Is this the guy that worked for you out at Mom's house?
In talking with Angie, she identified Sue as the person who would know the man that shot her. I learned that Sue was an acquaintance of Angie and had gotten her in contact with a male that had come and done some work at her house. She was able to identify him as David Wolgemuth.
Once we were able to confirm that she was stating that a subject did this to her was the first time that we were 100% confident that we were in a manhunt now, and the clock was ticking.
David worked 2 days in a row doing minor things around the house, and Angela was not impressed. So the third day that he arrived, Angela actually fired him. There's a motive right there.
Basically, once we were able to identify David Wolgemuth, we run everything. His criminal history was pretty vast. The most telling thing for us was he had recently spent more than a year in jail on a essentially cruelty to an animals charge where he had tortured and burned a cat to death. During the course of that, he burnt down his family's home in Ackworth. So we know at that point we want to talk to him.
We gathered up detectives to go track him down. Finally, they stopped at a Burger King. He was standing right outside one of the entrances. As soon as we were able to confirm that it was him, we took him into custody. He was definitely not happy that we had caught up with him.
When somebody's in custody, you want to talk to them. First, we have to decide on the interview room. Everything in a serious criminal interrogation is contrived. From the layout, how long they're going to sit by themselves. I wanted him to be able to have a safety blanket because if he says lawyer, we're done. That's it. So we decided to leave the table in the middle of the room. And we were going to sit very traditionally on one side and he was going to sit on the other.
Just for everybody's safety, I'm going to check you one more time before taking handcuffs off of you, okay?
All right, David. My name's Lieutenant Clark with the Sheriff's Office. I'm going to go ahead and record this that way and get a whole bunch of notes or anything, okay? So, this is Sergeant Hands.
How are you, sir?
We want to be able to talk to you about an incident that happened here recently.
When somebody's in custody, you're on a clock. Now the game begins.
This is a formality for us, and I want to know what your side of the story is and why things have happened the way they did. I would love to hear what you've got to say.
We need to get him talking because we don't have anything. If he says lawyer, we're done. That's it. And a woman's life is at stake, in addition to any justice that she's going to get.
Angie's personality was, she's the funny one. She was the one that, you know, just wanted people to laugh and people to have fun, things like that.
My sister had the nickname Catfish because she very seldom showed her teeth when she smiled. She always had just a little long smile across her face. Angie was just a precious sister.
Now, tell me something, David. And my captain, you rode back here in the car with him. You said you were working, the last odd job that you had was up at, you said Angie's house in Ball Ground. When was the last time that you worked up there?
Probably something like that. Probably something like a week ago, I don't know.
About a week ago, so.
Probably more than that.
And so that's the last job that you had. What have you done in that past week?
Just different stuff to get money.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, yeah.
How did y'all find me? Y'all are a lot quicker than I thought.
What do you mean we're a lot quicker than?
Y'all are a lot quicker than I thought.
He's not even asked us really why he was there or what was going on. You know, it was a, how'd you catch me so quick? That was a big red flag.
We all understood why we're in the same room. It was just unacknowledged.
You know, we have all kinds of ways of finding people around. The fact that we're sitting here talking is what's relevant right now, right? So, you know why we're here.
How else have we got there? Where we are now. Tell me what happened last night. We started realizing the magnitude of what was happening to him. So now was the time to back down. I want him to not look at us as adversaries. I want to be his friend. And that's just rapport building 101.
Here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to understand what all happened.
I just couldn't.
Hey, David, look, why don't you start where you want to with it and just tell us the whole thing?
What led you the past day to us talking to you today? If I could ask you.
I'm gonna put it in general terms and kind of put it from my point of view. My fiance needed money. She's very clingy. She didn't want me to be gone all the time, but she wanted money at the same time. So I made her happy to the best of my ability.
How much money would you say?
It's gotta be like something like $7,000 now.
So you're supporting a big chunk of her living expenses.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a huge responsibility.
Lay it out so that
Sharman was just, just on me like she was about money and
she's telling you she doesn't care how you get the money, just get it.
but she's saying, get it fast, get it done. And I explained to her, I don't want to do this. I don't want, have to do something illegal to, get money. But, you want me to do it in a way that's like impossible and you're like threatening to like leave me. And here I am looking, 2 years of my life is going to go down the drain. You know what I mean?
He's literally portraying himself as the victim in this scenario. It turns your stomach in that room. It starts eating at you in 360 degrees inside of you to reach out and empathize with this person. But that empathy is the only way to get his confession.
Do I have to do this? Why? Love me for who I am.
We felt we were getting close. You could see him giving it up more and more. He hasn't said he's done anything. He's just very openly alluded to it. I want him to tell me what he did. I need him saying it.
There's nothing we can do to change the past, right? Okay.
We've all made bad decisions. Some are worse, some aren't so bad. That's what life is. So that's where we are now. I know it can't be easy for you. I don't think you did something necessarily, maliciously. So I know you're in pain over it when you tell us, but it's going to start feeling better.
Just give me a minute.
I know it's hard, man, and I know you're not okay with it. I can see that. You're good. Take your time.
I went up there and his parents, she was asleep or whatever. It was dark and everything. Of course, it was like 11:30, 11:18, something like that, somewhere in there. I was like, okay, so I just knocked on her door and I was just like, oh, hey ma'am, I'm really hungry. I know it's late. You trying to give me something to eat? And she was like, what are you doing here? Because we had some kind of issue. I can't remember what exactly it was. She just, like a lot of people, she just decided out of nowhere she just didn't like me for whatever dumbass reason. No reason at all, really. But
well, how long did you work for Angie?
Like 2 days, 3 days, something like that.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. So you're out the door.
So she went to just close the door, and like it sounded like she locked it, but I don't know. I guess instinctually, I just knew it wasn't. I just pushed it open, and I seen she was just sitting there on the couch, and she was like, "You need some food. You have some food." I'm like, "No, bitch. I'm here for your money." She's like, "I ain't got nothing." So I just shot her in the face, and then she was sitting there leaning like this. I was just so upset because I even had to do that. I just pistol whipped her in the face. The gun accidentally went off, and she finally rolled down, so I might have shot her a third time. I'm not sure. Walked over to her purse, grabbed her wallet, and just started going back down the road I came from.
To hear him talk about it with such casual indifference was just agonizing for me. The magnitude of what he did was nowhere to be found in his soul. You realize you're talking to a sociopath. His only regret is that he did it for somebody else, and now he's got to pay the price for it.
How much money did you end up getting?
Including what possibly was on the credit cards, was about 500.
Credit cards in your book bag also?
Yeah.
Did you get anything else from there?
I know that was hard, and I appreciate you being honest. I know it was difficult.
We got him to confess that he did it. We got his motive. I was there. I knew I was going to have to kill her. I shot her, and I shot her for money. And then I left. And to get motive for the district attorney's office is a huge thing for investigators.
Where's that from, sir?
We wanted to make sure we charge him with everything that he's done. And we want to make sure that he doesn't get away with shooting Angie in the face.
I'm gonna step outside for a minute, okay?
This was one of the very, very few instances that I've investigated where somebody was committing malice murder with every inch of their being. He went there to murder somebody.
Unfortunately, by the time she passed, there were so many health concerns that it went down on paper as undetermined. I was absolutely prepared to draw an indictment for murder. But we have to be able to prove that his action caused the death. Knowing that we could get the sentence based on the crimes that we already charged, it wasn't worth the risk of going to a jury and then saying, maybe not murder.
Manner of death is undetermined. When I read that, I was and am still astounded. It hurts. And it's unfair to her. It's unfair to her memory. And she's someone that doesn't have a voice anymore. So it's our responsibility to be her voice.
When she did finally come to my office and come to court, she was on a walker. She had an oxygen machine. It was hard to speak to her. There was really not much quality of life for her left after this. But she was, at that point, I think, determined to make sure that someone understood what had happened. She was willing to stand up and make sure that he didn't do this to anybody else.
It's just rough sometimes. You know, I still have dreams, things like that, and it's hard. Angie was my second mom, not only an aunt, but somebody that was there as well to, you know, help me grow up and help me raise right. I guess the biggest thing is just that I miss her.
What is the location of your emergency? We're at the Deluxe, and I don't know the address. Somebody shot. There's someone shot. You said someone was just shot? Yes, like literally he's bleeding out right now. Okay, are you with the guy now? No, we were in our room. We heard gunshots. It's a motel. I mean, we're just neighbors. We're in another room. Give me 1 second, okay? Is there an ambulance on the way, right? 'Cause this guy's like... Yeah, we've got units en route, okay? Okay. I'm talking to the calling party just advising someone was shot and he's bleeding out. There is somebody with the victim. 5 gunshots.
Officers arrived on scene, and one of the first things they noticed is a victim lying on the ground. He is bleeding. He is not conscious. Citizens were trying to render medical aid to him. He had multiple gunshot wounds to his chest, to his arm, primarily his upper body.
Anybody see anything?
We heard it, and then when we opened up the door, we seen the car speeding off. And then we heard them yelling.
You see what kind of car was it?
Red SUV.
Yeah, it's open. It's cracked open.
The victim was located in front of room 123.
It's Top Police Department.
We looked at the registry from the motel, and we were able to identify the victim as Jackie Jerome.
My brother, he was a big-hearted person. He was an amazing brother, very caring. He was a certified nursing assistant. He loved taking care of people and helping everybody.
He was a really, really good guy. He would have given anybody whatever they needed if he had it or had a means to get it to help. He would.
The last thing I ever got from him, it was a GameCube game. I probably played it every day. Because we used to play games together. I just want my dad to be there.
We got 5 cases. There might be one in that door over there.
I know officers had many shell casings that they observed on the ground around where the victim was laying. Officers also observed that there were cameras that were actually at the Deluxe Inn, surveillance cameras. And anything that we can do to figure out who the suspect is or which direction he or she went is a bonus at this point. So I was very excited. You can see shadows, you can see vehicles. You couldn't identify anyone, but you could definitely see their movements and their actions. And it definitely showed that this was not just a random shooting. Our victim was targeted in this incident. So after viewing the video, it is a continuous hunt for this shooter until they are captured.
Police are looking for the suspect who killed a man at a West Wichita motel overnight. The shooting happened around 4 o'clock this morning.
Hours after the call of shots fired, police were still at the Deluxe Inn on West Kellogg, still looking at every piece of evidence in every room they could find into a shooting overnight.
There was a picture of his Durango with yellow caution tape all around it in front of a hotel. And it just said that there was a man shot. I felt sick. And almost like it wasn't real, like it wasn't really happening. And then I was like, how am I gonna tell my kids? I instantly started bawling. I couldn't believe that it was real. He was such a big part of my life.
We did some research to find out who was actually staying in those rooms right by where his body was. We learned from a witness on scene that the person that had rented those 2 rooms was by the name of Christine Wolf. Christine was someone that we did not believe was an actual suspect. I just wanted to talk to her. So I called the number that we had in our record system. She tells me that she knows that the shooter was Corey Bentley. It's very exciting at this point because we are now able to focus more on that name, his background. There are people searching for Corey. There are people doing research to find out where his friends and family might stay, vehicles he commonly uses, etc., so we can locate him.
One of the officers had a confidential informant that provided information that somebody was trying to sell a stolen vehicle that matched the suspect vehicle in the homicide. Our Violent Crimes Task Force followed up on that information, and they actually ended up locating Corey at an apartment complex. Corey had a pickup for his arrest for first-degree murder. He had a pickup for the felon in possession of a firearm. We know that our firearm that was used in the homicide was not in custody yet, and they had received information that Corey said he's not going back to prison and that he potentially would engage in a shootout with officers.
Watch out, watch out.
Hands up! Both hands, mother! Get out here now! Get on the ground! On the ground now! I don't need you talking. On the ground.
Going slow. Just going slow. Keep down. Y'all don't think nothing. I'm just going slow. Stay down. Y'all don't think nothing. Keep your hands down.
Oh, you can shut him down. We have one in custody.
Shut up. I was talking. Being cooperative. You have my lighter?
Relax. Relax.
I don't know what
you hear me?
For. I'm scared. But
you hear? Are you listening? Relax. Everything will be explained to you.
Drink your soda? Hi, I'm Detective Perkins, just Detective Palmer. We're detectives of the Wichita Police Department, okay?
We had surveillance video interviews from witnesses. But without Corey's actual confession, it's going to be a lot harder for court to get a conviction. I felt that going in and yelling at him or trying to be intimidating to him, that was not a good strategy. So Detective Palmer and I felt like if we went in and just tried to calmly talk to him, that would maybe work in our favor.
Well, Corey, obviously, you know why you're here. There was a homicide that happened yesterday morning out of the Deluxe. Your name has come up. We've talked to a lot of people. We've watched a lot of video, and we've collected a lot of evidence. Okay? And I would like to know your side of all this and exactly what happened out there.
That's what is being said, because I have no problem saying what is on me, but everybody's pointing at me, huh?
Well, you are the one sitting here with the pickup. Yeah.
To be honest, I really don't recall all of it. I was getting high with that dude before. He gave me bath salts, and I did not know it until I started freaking out. It's just a spiral from there.
Tell me what happened yesterday at the hotel. You're gonna have to talk a little louder. I don't want you to have to keep repeating, okay?
Like, I'm sitting there in this car, freaking out. Like, people walked up to the car and was saying stuff, and he was circling around the car, and I didn't know what the hell was going on, except I was scared, and this guy was causing my fear. I didn't know what to do.
He's not actually crying, but his voice is kind of shaking. I think some of that is real, and some of that is a little maybe of a staged type of thing. He has not taken any of this blame for himself. He's almost acting like he's the victim in this, and he's the one that should be, coddled like a child.
Who's this guy to you? So you said he gave you bath salts. And did he sell them to you, or did he just give them to you? Okay. How much did he sell them to you for? Did you finish all the $15 worth? Okay. What did you think it was? What did he tell you it was?
Where? That's what I just thought it was a weird cut because it wasn't cracking.
Yeah. And
I just started freaking out and I started getting scared. The car being surrounded this blessing.
Is the car, what did you say, the car being surrounded? Okay. I'm just trying to hear, it's hard to understand you. I'm just making sure I understand what I'm hearing from you.
It's hard to say because I know I'm going to jail.
Okay.
I just don't want
I
don't want to die in prison now. All because of bad habit.
It wasn't the bath salts that killed Jackie. Somebody has to physically pull that trigger. I know what the right answer is. They are just not telling it to me. And sometimes you just have to take a chance during these interviews and push a little farther, a little harder.
What was he saying to you when he's around your vehicle, or when he's around the vehicle? What do you remember him saying?
I just remember people surrounded him. I just was so damn scared. And like the guy, he said something and instantly my eyes just locked on him. And I was freaking out. I was screaming for my mom.
You were screaming for your mom?
I screamed for my mom and then ran.
In Corey's interview, he finally felt comfortable telling us tiny bits of the truth in very small pieces. I felt that at that point, I think he was almost maybe waiting for someone to stop beating around the bush and just ask the direct question.
Why'd you shoot him?
When somebody's describing an incident to me in great detail, but they're leaving out the detail about the actual incident, I know that they know that missing piece. They're just choosing not to tell us at that point.
Corey, why'd you shoot him? How many times do you recall pulling the trigger?
Go, I can't go, we can go.
Did you unload the gun? You unload the clip? Okay. And you remember that when you shot him, you kept shooting even after it locked back? Okay. So you're moving your finger like you're still pulling the trigger. Okay.
When he finally started telling us the truth, it just kind of flooded out of him. You know, sometimes pushing them to that point gets those floodgates open and they just continue to talk and tell us what really happened. He's given us a reason why. Now we have that confession, but you don't want to stop there. You still want as much information as you can get.
And had he fallen down by then? Did he have a gun? Did you see a gun in his hand? Was he doing anything to you? Did he ever touch you?
He was yelling around the car.
Okay.
And I just made it. Oh, man. I should have told my attorney first.
No, that's up to you, okay?
I should have told my attorney before I made these statements.